which is really kind of a philosophical and economic question, which I love and kind of kick around all the time. This whole thing about value in the aggregate being pushed down in all sectors, and we talked about the accelerated pursuit of opening up outlet stores, the fact that they're, and the fact that even the luxury consumer has become more discerning. They won't see a bag that they like and buy 3 of them without looking at the price and so forth and so on. The fact that the designers are reaching down and spinning off diffusion brands, Vera Wang and Kohl's and so forth. And these celebrity designers. Is this whole thing about value in the aggregate being kind of pushed down? Is it a lowering of all ships across our economy?
No, I wouldn't look at it that. First of all, the word that you chose, which to me is one of the most important in this sector, is value. Right? So you have the right word, but value can mean different things. Value can mean low price, but value might be something that's a high price with a very high quality. So one of the reasons why you see some of the advertising you've seen in terms of workmanship and what goes into making an LV bag, or what goes into making some of these very special pieces, or the handwork, that's a component of value as well. So I think that what value has become more important. The idea of just slap a logo on a piece of plastic is not that necessarily going to be perceived as value, and so you've got to make sure that the consumer is understanding where the value is, and that's part of the role of the brands as well as the sales associates to make sure people understand what that value is. So there's one kind of value there. Now, you do have brands that are playing and trying to broaden their appeal by playing across varying segments, and I think that it's a game that can be highly successful, but it's fraught with risk. So probably the most successful, I don't know, maybe it's one, but I think the most successful at it has been Ralph Lauren. Has been enormously successful at being able to maintain the equity of the high end and be able to play at a moderate price point. They've been true to their identity and been able to have the consumer play at the multiple price points. But there have also been the brands over time, you have a lot more experience than I do at it, that have littered the ground with brands that have gone down and destroyed their imagery.
Right.
And you've got to be very careful about that. So I wouldn't pick on any one brand plus or minus, but every time you try to go and say, gee, there's this carrot of huge volume if I open up more mass distribution, is that I run the risk of hurting who the image of my brand is. It can be done successfully, and there are some great success stories on it, but it's just something each brand has to do it very carefully. I don't know that the celebrity to me is a different, that one to me really revolves around is there equity in who the brand or the celebrity is that brings value to whatever the product line is.
But at the end of the day, isn't the perception the consumer has of that particular celebrity that really matters?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, and if their perception of that celebrity is that this is a designer brand, when in fact it is not, I mean, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Well, I don't know
if over time that becomes dilutive to true classic design. Now, not perhaps in the luxury
sector. I don't know that it affects the luxury sector, but it does affect. It affects the brand. That person's brand, the designer, the celebrity as well, because it's placing them in terms of. It can work. Again, it really depends upon how well it's positioned and the price points. But is it consistent with who the brand is? And I think some of it can. I think some of them are remarkably successful.